arithmetic, appreciation and depreciation. A plot of land valued at 50,000 shillings at the start of 1994 is appreciated by 20% during 1994. Thereafter, every year, it appreciated by 10% of its previous year's value. Find A. The value of the land at the start of 1995. B. The value of the land at the end of 1997. Now for part A, we shall take 120 over 100 multiplied by 50,000. We get the value to be 60,000. For part B, we shall use the compound interest formula, which shall have amount into 1 plus rate raised to the n, where rate is the interest rate and n is the number of years. So we have 60 into 1 plus 10% raised to the power of 3, and we get the amount to be 79,860 shillings. The cost of a minibus was 950,000 shillings. It depreciated in value by 5% per year for the first 2 years and by 15% per year for the subsequent years. A. Calculate the value of the minibus after 5 years. B. After 5 years, the minibus was sold through a dealer at 25% more than its value to Mr. X. If the dealer's price was to be taken as its value after depreciation, calculate the average monthly rate of depreciation for the 5 years. So part A, the value after 2 years. We use the compound formula for depreciation, that is amount is equals to 1 minus rate raise the number of years. So after 2 years, the value will be 7,375. Then the value in the next 3 years, we shall take the value at the end of the first 2 years, then multiply by 1 minus 5% raise the power of 3 years, and the value is 526,535 and 40 cents. Now the sales value. The sales value, we have been told it was 25% more of the depreciated value. So we take 125 over 100 multiplied by 526,535 and 40 cents. We get the value was 658,169.25. Now part B, we have been at the rate of depreciation. If the sales price was the depreciated value, now what will have been the rate of depreciation? Now we use our formula. A is equals to P into 1 minus R raised to the power of N, and then we put there the variables, and we find that the rate was about 7%. per annum. The average rate of depreciation in value of a water pump is 9% per annum. After 3 complete years, its value was 150,700 shillings. Find its value at the start of the 3 years period. Now here we use our formula. We input there the variables, and the P is unknown. We solve for P, and they get it is 199,981.15. A water pump costs 21,600 shillings. The depreciation at the end of the second year is 20%, and thereafter the rate of depreciation is 15% yearly. Calculate the exact value of the water pump at the end of the fourth year. Now we use a formula, and for compounding, we need not calculate separately. We just show that the first year the rate was 80 raised to the power of 2, and for the other year, what will it be? It will be 1 minus 0.15 raised to the power of 2. Then when you compute, we find the value to be 9,987.80 cents. A businessman obtained a loan of 450,000 from the bank to buy a matatu valued at the same amount. The bank charges interest at 24% per annum, compounded quarterly. Calculate the total amount of money the businessman paid to clear the loan in 1.5 years. Another part being the average income realized from the matatu per day was 1,500 shillings. The matatu worked for 3 years at an average of 280 days per year. Calculate the total income from the matatu. During the 3 years, the value of the matatu depreciated at the rate of 16% per annum. If the businessman sold the matatu at its new value, calculate the profit realized at the end of the 3 years. Now the first part, the businessman used 638,303 shillings point 6 cents to clear the loan. The other part, the total income from the matatu is 1,260,000. Now the last part, we find that the income for the 3 years is 1.2 million. Now the sale of the matatu was sold at 450 shillings less the accumulated depreciation. We find that the profit was 266,716.8 cents. Now from these incomes we subtract bank interest of 188,333 shillings point and 60 cents. So the profit realized is 1,338,383 shillings point 20 and 20 cents. Now down there I've shown how depreciation is calculated. and somebody should be able to follow this without difficulties. Omolo bought a car for 800 shillings for 800,000 shillings. After 5 years, he sold it through a second-hand dealer. The dealer charged a commission of 4% for the sale of the car. If Omolo received 480,000 shillings, calculate the annual rate of depreciation of the car as a percentage. So the workings there are self-explanatory. I think they should be followed without difficulties. The rate of depreciation is 8.9%. Halima deposited 109,375 shillings in a financial institution which paid simple interest at the rate of 8% per annum. At the end of the second year, she withdrew all the amount. She invested the amount in shares. The value of the shares depreciated at 4% per annum during the first year of investment. In the next 3 years, the value of the shares appreciated at the rate of 6% every 4 months. Calculate the amount Alima invested in shares. D. Calculate the value of Alima shares. Part 1 of B, at the end of the first year, at the end of the fourth year, to the nearest shilling. Part C, calculate Alima's gain from shares as a percentage. So the first part we use the simple interest formula where we add the principal and the interest to get the amount of the shares invested. Part B, part 1, we calculate the value at the end of the first year. We use the formula A is equals to P into 1 minus R, and we get the value to be 130,200. And then part B2, we have been asked to calculate the value of the shares at the end of the fourth year. So we start with the value at the end of the first year, then use compound interest formula to calculate the value at the end of the fourth year, and we get the value to be 155,070 shillings. Now, what about the gain? We take the value at the end of the fourth year, then the value at the beginning when she first invested, the difference divided by the value when she first invested multiplied by 100%, and we get that the percentage gain on her shares was 14.34%. At the beginning of the year 1998, Kanyigi bought 2 houses, one in Thika and one in Nairobi, each at 1.24 million shillings. The value of the house in Thika appreciated at the rate of 12% per annum. A. Calculate the value of the house in Thika after 9 years to the nearest shilling. B. After n years, the value of the house in Thika was 2.7 million shillings, while the value of the house in Nairobi was 2.9 million shillings. 1. Find N. 2. Find the annual rate of depreciation of the house in Nairobi. So part A, we calculate the value of the house in Thika after 9 years. We use the compound interest formula. A is equals to P into 1 plus R raised to the power of N, and we get the value is 3.4 million shillings. Part B, we have been told to find n. So we use the formula A is equal to P into 1 plus R is the power of n, and n becomes unknown. So we calculate for n. Now we should appreciate because n is our power, we shall use the logarithm to compute n, and we find n is approximately 1.7 years. B, part 2, we have to find the rate. Now we know the years are 1.7, so we have all the variables for that part except the rate. So the rate becomes unknown, and the computer find the rate is 66.26%. Juma bought a house 4 years ago for 2.5 million shillings. The value of the house rose steadily over 4 years to its current value of 3.7 million shillings. A. Calculate correct to two decimal places the annual rate of appreciation in the value of the house. B. At the time Juma bought the house in A above, Tony also bought a car valued 5.1 million shillings. The value of the car depreciated steadily at the rate of 2% every 4 months. Determine correct to the nearest shilling the current value of the car. C. The house bought in A continued to appreciate in value at the same rate while the car bought in B continued to depreciate in the value at the same rate. Determine the number of years from the time of purchase it would take for the value of the house and that of a car to be equal. Give the answer correct to one decimal place. A welfare group invested 75,000 in shares and another 75,000 in a piece of land for a period of 3 years. In the remaining period of 2 years, the shares appreciated in value at the rate of 4.5% every 6 months. During the 5 years, the piece of land appreciated in value at a constant rate. At the end of the 5th year, the value of the two investments were equal. A. Determine 1. The value of the shares at the end of the 5th year. 2. The rate of appreciation in the value of the piece of land over the 5 years. B. After the 5 years period, the share depreciated in value at the rate of 3.5% per annum for n years. The shares lost 10% of their value during this period. Determine the value of n correct to two decimal places.